In America, a 7th grade museum trip needs 3 permission slips and a signed liability waiver. In Israel, that same 7th grader is on day 2 of a hike across the country, sleeping on the ground, miles from the nearest parent. Nobody thinks that's extreme. It's on the school calendar every year. 8 things Israeli schools do that would make an American parent reach for a lawyer. And the last one is who's actually in charge of Israeli kids after school, because it isn't an adult. Stick around for that. Number 1, the school trip where kids sleep on the ground. Let's stay on that hike because it sets up everything else. It's called the Tayul Shnati, the annual trip, not a field trip. A multi-day expedition. Kids as young as elementary school walk through deserts, climb up riverbeds, sleep in tents, carry their own packs, and get filthy. By high school, some trips run 4 or 5 days across the country. American parents hear this and think liability, heat, adult-to-child ratio. Israeli parents hear the trip is next week and go buy a bigger backpack. Because the point was never the scenery. The country wants its kids uncomfortable, exhausted, and dependent on each other for a few days. You come back different, and you come back closer to the 30 kids who were sweating next to you. Hold on to that hike. It comes back at the very end, and it explains the strangest thing on this list. Number 2, Sunday is a school day. An American school week is Monday to Friday. Locked. Unquestionable. An Israeli school week runs Sunday to Thursday, plus a half-day Friday in plenty of schools. The calendar is built around Shabbat. Friday afternoon and Saturday are when the country stops and families gather. So Sunday morning, backpacks go on, and Israeli kids head to class while American kids are still in pajamas. Ask an Israeli kid if they feel robbed of their Sunday, and you get a blank stare. You can't miss something you never had. What they do have is a Friday that winds down before noon, a house that smells like cooking by early afternoon, and a Saturday where the streets go silent. Same amount of weekend, completely different shape. Number 3, kids call their teachers by first name. Listen to how an Israeli kid gets a teacher's attention. Not Mrs. Cohen, not Sir, just Yael. From first grade, kids use their teacher's first name, the same name that the teacher's own friends use. There is no Mr., Miss, or Miss Layer at all. To an American parent, that sounds like the first domino of total chaos. If a 9-year-old can call an adult by her first name, what's left of authority? Here's the Israeli answer. Respect isn't stored in the title. A teacher's authority comes from being trusted, being interesting, and being right, not from a label kids are forced to say. Take away the title, and the distance goes with it. Kids talk to teachers like actual humans, and teachers hear things a Mrs. Cohen would never be told. Coming up, what Israeli kids do to teachers mid-lesson that would get an American kid sent to the principal. But first, lunchtime, or rather, the total absence of it. Number 4, no cafeteria, no yellow bus, home by early afternoon. Here's where American parents get dizzy. There is no yellow bus. Israeli kids walk, bike, or catch a city bus. Neighborhoods are dense, schools are close, and by 7 or 8, plenty of kids make that walk on their own. There's no cafeteria line, no lunch lady, no cafeteria at all in most schools. Kids bring a sandwich from home, usually the exact same sandwich every day, eat it in 10 minutes in the yard, and move on. And the day is short. Elementary school can end in the early afternoon, sometimes around 1 o'clock, while American kids are still hours from the final bell. So what happens to a 9-year-old at 1 in the afternoon with no parent home yet? He walks home with his own key, makes himself something to eat, and goes outside to find his friends until dinner. An American parent hears that and does the math on childcare. An Israeli parent hears it and thinks, yes, that's what afternoons are for. In an American school, your schedule is yours. Different room every period, different faces. And by senior year, there are people in your grade you've never spoken to. Israeli schools do the opposite. You're assigned to a kaita, a class, and those 30 kids stay together. Same room, fine classmates, year after year, often 6 straight years. And they get a mechanicat, a homeroom teacher who is far more than that. She often stays with the same class for years. She knows whose parents just split up, who stopped eating lunch, which 2 had a falling out last week. She calls parents, she mediates fights, she shows up. There's a real trade-off, and Israelis admit it. If you don't fit in your kita, there's nowhere to escape to. But what it buys is 30 people who watched you grow up in real time. Israelis in their 40s still have a group chat with those same kids. And now, what those kids do to their teachers. Number 6. Arguing with the teacher is the whole point. An American classroom rewards one specific skill, knowing the answer the teacher is looking for. An Israeli classroom rewards the kid who raises a hand and says, "But that doesn't make sense." Kids here interrupt. They challenge the explanation. They ask why we're doing it this way, and they keep asking after the first answer. Classrooms are loud, overlapping, argumentative places. An American visitor watching that would diagnose a discipline problem. An Israeli teacher watching a silent, perfectly obedient class would diagnose something worse. Nobody's thinking. This is where that famous Israeli chutzpah gets built. Not at work, not in the army, right here at age 8, in a classroom where the adult in charge treats a challenge as a compliment. Every startup founder you've heard about spent years being encouraged to tell a teacher she was wrong. Number 7. The students run the school trips. Now, watch what happens when adults deliberately step back. Israeli high schools hand real jobs to actual teenagers. Older students plan the schedule for a younger grade's trip, lead activities, handle the logistics, and manage the little ones for days. Not as a symbolic honor, as the actual staff. Israeli schools also run community service as a normal part of the curriculum, not a bullet point for a college application. Teenagers tutor kids, visit the elderly, volunteer in their own neighborhoods, and it's simply expected. In America, a 17-year-old is trusted with a shift at a coffee shop and a lot of paperwork. In Israel, a 17-year-old is trusted with 30 12-year-olds and a bus, and that's exactly the training for the last one. Number 8. After school, kids are in charge of kids. Here it is, the thing American parents can't get their heads around. Israeli kids spend their afternoons in youth movements. Millions have passed through them. Kids show up several times a week and on weekends. And here's the part that lands. The person running the group is not a teacher, not a coach, not a hired adult. It is a 16-year-old. 16 and 17-year-olds plan the activities, lead the games, run the discussions, and take groups of younger kids on overnight trips. There are adults somewhere in the structure, but the person a 9-year-old looks up to every week is a teenager who was that 9-year-old 6 years earlier. An American parent's first question is always the same: who is supervising? The answer is a kid with a whistle who has been preparing for this job since he was in 4th grade. And now, the whole thing clicks. Remember that hike from the beginning? 30 kids, tents, no parents? Same instinct. This is a country that has decided systematically that the fastest way to build a capable adult is to hand a child something real to be responsible for, years earlier than feels comfortable. The trip, the walk home alone, the key, the argument with the teacher, the 16-year-old with a clipboard, it's all the same idea, repeated for 12 years. By 18, they have been practicing since they were 6. So tell me in the comments, which one could you accept for your own kid? The multi-day hike, the walk home alone with a key, or a 16-year-old in charge of your 9-year-old on an overnight trip? Be honest. And if a short school day surprised you, wait until you see what Israeli parents do that would get them reported in America. starting with what age kids are handed cash and sent to the store alone. That one is next.